Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. I'm just so excited for you to be here today because we're going to deep dive into a topic that I talk about all the time because this this podcast is literally called Loving Me, Myself, and Life. And it's all about self-love and loving life, right? However, I'm going to really deep dive into the power of self-love. What is it? Why are we doing it in the first place? And really just kind of getting right into diving deep into it today. So get comfy and let's get into this. So let's begin by unpacking what self-love truly means. Self-love isn't just a buzzword or a bubble bath. It's not just a buzzword, yeah. And then a lot of people think it could be bubble baths and pampering yourself. That's actually self-care. That's taking care of your body and your mind and your spirit. But self-love goes so much deeper. And let's be honest, those things are nice, like the bubble bath and pampering yourself, but it's not building that relationship with yourself. It's part of taking care of yourself. But self-love is so much deeper. So the way I look at it is self-care are actions, are things you do to better yourself, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Things to take care of your vessel, right? To take care of your being. And then self-love is a journey and a relationship with yourself. And it's how to create a deeper loving relationship with yourself. And that to me is really the difference. So actions, self-care, taking care of yourself. Self-love is cultivating and really creating a beautiful relationship with yourself. So it's recognizing your worth, setting healthy boundaries, and treating yourself with kindness and respect that you deserve. Imagine waking up each morning feeling energized and excited about the day ahead. Imagine looking in the mirror and loving the person staring back at you, flaws and all. Sounds amazing, right? But for many women, especially those of us who tend to put others first, it can feel impossible and like an unreachable dream. Something that's like other people do, but we haven't figured out, right? But here's the truth. Self-love is not only possible, it's essential. It's the foundation upon which we build our lives. Like I said, it's a journey, something we do it's creating a relationship. So when we learn to love ourselves, when we can authentically embrace who we truly are and live a life that truly reflects our values and desires, that's like a beautiful foundation to create a life on. Now, this might sound crazy, or not even crazy, just almost unreachable. But it is a journey. So let's dive into that part of it. The journey of self-discovery, even figuring out what that means. So let's talk about it. This is where the magic happens. Self-discovery involves exploring our thoughts, feelings, and desires without judgment. So kind of going on this fun adventure. Getting to know ourselves better, again, without judgment. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. What do you really want? What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? Here's some practical things you can do to incorporate into your daily routine. And like I always say, I'm going to share these with you. Do what feels good and leave the other ones behind. Or try it, and then if it doesn't work for you, be like, okay, that didn't work for me. But don't beat yourself up if something doesn't work for you, because what works for me might work differently for you, and vice versa. So really, it's experimenting and having fun with this and finding what works for you. Now, I'm also going to sound like a broken record because everything on here that I share about is about self-love. And it's really just, constantly sharing the beautiful practices and techniques that work to help you create a deeper loving relationship with yourself. So today, You might hear things I've already said because I keep saying it over and over, because these are the things that do help you build and create a deeper, loving relationship with yourself. So journaling, grabbing a notebook and start writing. Let your thoughts flow freely. Reflect on your day, your feelings, and your dreams. This can help you gain clarity about who you are and what you want, or what you don't want. Sometimes we know exactly what we don't want. And that can actually be a good place to start. Because then if you know what you don't want, then you can be like, okay, so if I don't want this, what do I want? And it's not living in a place of negativity, like, oh, I don't like this in my life, I don't like this. It's, I don't want that. So sometimes things come up in our lives where we're like, ooh, I don't like that. It really is a fun, well, let's not say fun. It's a marker in our life, like going that, like, ooh, you're heading in the wrong direction. Maybe look elsewhere. It's like a little flag that says, go this way instead, or, recalculate because you're not liking this. So really, if you don't know what you want, start with what you don't want and then figure out from there, what would you like instead? And again, meditation and mindfulness, you're going to hear, like, literally everything I'm saying here is what I said before, but we're just going in it differently, at a different angle and a different way. And these are all tools that, like I said, really do help create a deeper, loving relationship with yourself. And again, so meditation and mindfulness is taking time to just sit in silence and connect with your breath. It's connecting to the present moment. Life is so busy and so loud. So it's really important to slow down so you can hear yourself think, hear what your heart has to say, and really just allow space to get to know yourself better. It allows you to tune into your inner self and really just find peace, because like I said, the outer world is so loud. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, can make a huge difference. I've been doing this with my own yoga practice. After I practice my yoga, asanas, I sit on my mat and usually I do 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 10. It really depends on my day, but I make a commitment for 5. And to me, it's like the time passes really fast. In a good way. I'm not like, oof, that's gone. Like, check, it's over. But it always helps me ground into the present moment and into my day. It's a really beautiful way to start the day. And now let's talk about meditation for a minute, because I used to never be able to meditate silently. I'd be so distracted. So I do a lot of guided meditations. And actually what I've started to do with my community is I send out a monthly newsletter, and it includes a monthly meditation that is absolutely free. And it's a great way to have another resource to help you create a deeper, loving relationship with yourself. And it's guided meditations have always helped me so much. However, since I became a yoga teacher and I did like a month away training, I really learned the silence of things as well. However, when my kids are home, I can hear them throughout the whole house. So I usually put some kind of music on in the background so I don't hear them as much. However, I also take it as a learning moment where it's like, I need to find the silence within the noise. So it's really just finding your flow, but also then learning to kind of grow and so find your flow, but then go with the flow of life. And what I mean by that is when I started practicing meditation, I was living with my grandma. I'd be laying down and I'd be like all stressed out because I'm like, I got to do this right. It must be done right. The perfectionist in me. And then my grandma would interrupt and then I'd be mad. It's like, that defeats the purpose of meditation. We're going to get interrupted sometimes. Now, it's obviously important to have boundaries and things like that. She didn't know I was meditating and things like that, but it's having a conversation with people around you so they know. My husband knows that in the morning after the kids go to school, I'm practicing my yoga practice and followed by meditation. So he knows not to, like, he'll text me, but my phone's on silent. He knows that I won't be responding at certain times. So if he doesn't hear from me, it's not because I'm ignoring him, kind of thing. And so it's just having those conversations with people in your life. It's setting those boundaries, right? With yourself and with others in your life. But it's also not this thing that needs to be perfect. The most important thing about all these things is showing up and doing it. You know, will you write the perfect things? Is your handwriting perfect? Is it neat and tidy? It doesn't have to be. No one else is looking at it. So it's letting that side of perfectionism go, to the side and really just focus on showing up for you. And when you stop thinking about like, I need to do this perfectly, it's like, I'm just going to show up for me. It takes the pressure of doing things perfectly. So just keep that in mind as you're learning new things or trying new things. It's not about being perfect. In our house, we have a saying, practice makes better, because we don't believe in perfect in our house. And even if I ever use the word, oh, that's perfect, my kids are like, there's no such thing as perfect. I'm like, you're right. But like, this is perfect for me. Like, so it's teaching them we can use the word perfect, but in the sense of we just need to try our best, because that's what makes makes life the most fun and awesomeness, Anyway, so we don't have that pressure of being perfect in our house, even though sometimes we do still fall into those ideas of, trying to be perfect or do something perfect. But it's okay to color outside the lines. So it's about slowing down and finding that inner silence. Sometimes our worlds aren't silent, right? So inner silence. And remember, meditations, guided ones are great, and you can get them for free being a member of mine. So you can just go to my website and there's wonderful information there for you. And that's jodymisiak.com. And the link will be in the description as well, hopefully, if I remember. So another one, affirmations. I found affirmations a long time ago when I discovered Louise Hay. She really came into my world at a beautiful time. And they're just words that are powerful. So like, we all have thoughts and beliefs going on in our head. We tell ourselves things all the time. We just don't realize it all the time. So why don't we fill our head with beautiful, amazing thoughts? I actually have some in my office right in front of me here by my desk. They're all over. They're in my bathroom, in my master bathroom. Even my kids look at them. And one is about my body and just giving it what it needs. And it was actually funny. It was after a weekend. My kids were away with scouts, and it was up early and late to bed. And it was just go, 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 go. And I was trying to get my oldest into the shower after they got home, just to like shower, so they could just relax the rest of the day. And they're on the floor, and I'm like, come on. And then they look at the affirmation on my wall, and they're like, I did not do any of that for my body this weekend. It's like, I give my body what it needs on every level, I believe is what the affirmation is. And I had to chuckle, but like, it's being aware, right? So we have these affirmations, we try to say them the best we can, but it's not beating ourselves up. It's about acknowledging when we don't do something and when we do something. So it's just being aware of things. And that comes back to the mindfulness part that I just mentioned before. It's just being mindful of how you show up in the world, what you're saying, what you're believing. And then like, even when you don't do something that's good for your body, it's just acknowledging it and being like, okay, I'm going to do better. So that night I had my kids go to bed, and my husband, because he went to really early that night. So, it's like, okay, you guys are tired. Like, let's get you to bed. So starting your day with positive affirmations. Say things like, I am worthy, because it doesn't have to be as long as some of the other ones I have. Oh yeah. So I actually remembered the affirmation I had that I was talking about. I return my body to optimal health by giving it what it needs on every level. So that's the one I was talking about. So that's one I use as I'm healing and things like that. So it's just reminding myself it's not, just outside sources or outside things. It's just returning my body to optimal health. So here's some shorter ones though. So let's go back to that as I veered off for a second. They don't have to be long affirmations. They can be nice and short and sweet, because the most important thing is that you do it, right? We can talk and talk and talk and talk about things, but if you're not actually doing the things, then, they're not going to work. So it's not about being perfect, but it's about showing up. So here's a few. I am worthy. I deserve love. I am enough. You can put them all together or you can just do one, but what feels good to you? Now, some ways you can do your own affirmations are looking at anything that shows up negatively, and you can write that down. And then it's like, okay, instead of saying that negative, it's like maybe it's, man, I'm so tired. We can say that. So like, I'm so tired. It's like, okay. I am doing the best I can right now. And it's just really finding out, what do you want to say to yourself instead of the negative? Because we can have words just pop in our head or pop out, come out of our mouths that, aren't serving us. So it's rephrasing thoughts and beliefs that you have into positive ones that you do want. I hope that makes sense. So it's about repeating these affirmations until they become true. And like I said, sticking them on pieces of paper. Like I used to do Post-it notes, but I find that they just don't stick as well as I'd like. So I put them on fun cue cards, like different colors. I have tons of different colors. And then I use a little sticky tack on the back and boop, on the wall they go. And I know people that use, I've used chalk actually, the liquid chalk on my mirror. But honestly, I don't want to clean that off all the time and it gets dusty, personally speaking. So I like to do things other ways, but you can if you want. I just have my affirmations go up a lot. So I just don't feel like cleaning around them. That becomes a me thing more than a you thing. It's what I prefer. Anyways, and the last one I'd like to talk about, which probably won't come to a surprise, as a surprise to you now, I feel, but maybe it will, is yoga. As a yoga teacher, I can't emphasize enough how beneficial yoga can be for self-love. It really is so good. You're moving your body, you're slowing down, you're grounded on your mat, and as you flow, you're learning to flow through life, and you're creating space for your thoughts and a space to get to know yourself better. Like when I step on my yoga mat, I actually step and I set an intention for my day. But I also, before I do that, I send out love to everybody. Like I have this little prayer I say to myself. Just like a fun, sending love out. I think of a Care Bear stare. If you ever watch Care Bears, you know what I'm talking about. And I just focus on sending love to everybody. And I go from family, and then I go outward and outward. It's thinking the loving kindness meditation where it's, we love different, anyways, it's sending love out. And I do that before I start my practice. And I also, it could just be I'm going to focus on love today. It can be as simple as I'm going to ground myself in love or things like that. It's usually around some kind of form of love. Or it's just show up today for me, kind of things like that. So it's just it could be a word and things like that. But that to me, it allows space. But when I get on that mat, oh man, just the other day, I was not having a great day. And I was I'm just going to leave this all on the mat. I'm going to, go through my practice and I'm going to focus on love. But all this negative, I had some negative vibes going on. I was a little angry and a little growly. And I'm going to leave this all on the mat. I'm going to flow and breathe and but I'm going to leave all the negativity on the mat. It was so good. And then after my practice, I wipe it all down with this beautiful spray I make myself. So it's just this really beautiful way of, when you're, going through some stuff that might be heavy, go on the mat. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You can do cow, child pose. My new favorite is downward facing dog. And it's so funny because I remember when I was practicing like years and years, like probably 15 years ago, I couldn't stand it because I didn't love it on my wrists. And even though I'm much heavier now, I have the right position and I just feel so calm and centered in downward facing dog. Like it's just this beautiful thing. So it's about finding what feels good to you and knowing that not every day or every month or every year is going to be the same for you, that it will change and shift. And it just feels so good to be there and kind of leave that there. Just let it go, right? And then it's that act of cleaning off the mat. Usually I'm like, do I have to clean off my mat? But it's after I got a nice new mat, I make sure I wipe it down every single day. And it just smells so good. And it's just this calming thing at the end of my practice. And then it's just this simple way of just washing away or wiping away the things I wanted to leave. So the next time I step on my mat, it's a new day, a new experience. So it also, yoga can teach us to listen to our bodies and to honor our needs. So for instance, today, my yoga practice looked a little different than it did the day before because I had a headache when I woke up this morning. And I thought, okay, I'm still going to show up, but I was slower, more gentle with myself. And I didn't do as long of a practice. But other days when I'm feeling really good, I continue and I go longer and I push myself deeper and get into the postures deeper. So it's about learning to honor yourself and your body and just your being in general, where you're at any given day. And then it's just finding a practice that resonates with you. So I've mentioned this before in a different episode, but I'm going to throw it out there again, is I remember finding yoga with Adrienne when my oldest was born, and I wanted to continue yoga, but I just didn't feel like going out to a studio or the gym. I just was like, I want to stay home. I want to fit my practice into my life, not the other way around. And even to this day, I practice on my own most of the time. Sometimes my kids join me or my husband, but for the most part, it's my practice. It's where I get to be on my own and really listen from within. Or sometimes I have a cat on the other side of the door, putting their paw under the door, trying to get to me. But their claws like chewing at my mat. So they're on the other side of the door. But for the most part, I'm just there meeting me where I'm at that day. However, I love Adrienne with yoga, like I said, because it's all free on YouTube. She offers so much. She does have a membership as well, but most of her stuff is free on YouTube and it has different times. So if you're new to yoga, you can start with 5-10 minutes and ease your way in. And it's just finding again what works for you. I'm actually really excited because I didn't know what Ashtanga yoga was. And then I signed up for this course to become a teacher because I was just drawn to the yoga teacher herself and what she represented, how she incorporated indigenous practices and smudging and just so many beautiful things into it, and nature. And I was like, yes, I love nature. Everything she stands for, I agreed with so much. And then I didn't know exactly what that type of yoga is. If you read anything online, it says it's intense. Honestly, though, if I can do it, anybody can. You follow the flow as your body. The only thing is, it's actually you're doing the same practice over and over. However, I do have a shorter practice for certain days. And I can also just lean on other things. I don't need to follow the same, the primary series every single time. But it is my main form of practice these days. But I love the consistency of practicing the same thing over and over because you get to see how things change. So I remember after coming home and I was doing my practice, and there's these things called donkey kicks. It's to practice to get yourself up to a handstand. And I was like whoosh, like I was way up. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like it's seeing how far you come. So sometimes following a consistent routine can actually show you how much you change and grow. So personally now, I love that type of yoga. It is really good. And then it makes me more aware of being consistent too, where it's about a 6 times a week kind of thing. But I'm also honoring myself in my life right now where I do have a couple days where I do shorter practices just because I'm like, I would like to show up consistently. And that sometimes means I need to alter what I'm doing. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm sharing this with you because I think it's important that you know that not one size fits all and that you get to find what feels good to you and do what resonates with you too. So if you've never tried yoga, I highly encourage it. Try different kinds. I love gentle yoga. I'm like the one that loves to sit on the floor the whole time. But like I said, since I've become a teacher, I've really, the sun salutations, like I really kind of love those too because they heat me up and they warm me up. So anyways, it's find what feels good to you. So remember, self-discovery and like the idea of self-love and creating a deeper, loving relationship with yourself is a journey. It is not a destination. We're never actually going to get to this place of like, oh, I guess if you're a monk, maybe. No, I'm kidding. Like we're always constantly changing and growing, right? Like we're always going to find something new about ourselves. That's what's fun and exciting about life. But the thing is, it's remembering to be patient with yourself. And it's okay to take baby steps. In fact, sometimes if we go too fast, too hard, we try and we're like, we're going to do all this. And then like it fizzes out in like a day, a week, or like a month because it's not sustainable. So you can take baby steps. Make it a fun adventure. This does not have to be a job. It does not have to be hard or exhausting. Like take your time and just know that like you got this. And just really allow yourself to just be patient and, gentle with yourself. Now, another game changer for creating a deeper loving relationship with yourself and self-love are boundaries. And as a recovering people pleaser, I have struggled with this myself, and it can be hard to say no to others and share what our needs are. But by setting boundaries, it's not selfish, it's essential for your well-being. So I've shared this a lot about boundaries. So I'm going to go quick with this. But in case you missed the episode on boundaries and things like that, I do want to go into it a little bit. So here are some tips to help you start setting boundaries. Know your limits. Take some time to reflect on what you can and can't handle. Understanding your limits is the first step to communicating them to others, right? Because if you don't know what you want or what you need, you can't tell other people what you want or need. Second of all, communicate clearly. When you need to set a boundary, be direct and clear. You don't have to provide a lengthy explanation. Simply state your needs and stick to them. So it's also about setting boundaries with yourself. You need to honor your boundaries that you tell others, but that means also having boundaries with yourself. I hope that makes sense. It all comes down to you first. And then practice saying no. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been doing, the opposite, saying yes to everything. But by practicing saying no, start with low stake situations. This will help you build confidence when it comes to the bigger ones that you really want to request. And then prioritize yourself. Remember that it's okay to put yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. So make sure you're taking care of your needs as well. And for me, it's about putting it in the calendar, making it non-negotiable. So Setting boundaries is a form of self-love. It shows that you value yourself and your time. Now, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you to celebrate your journey. It's so important to celebrate. Every small step you take towards self-love and living authentically deserves recognition. Whether it's saying no to a commitment that doesn't serve you or taking time for self-care, celebrate it. You deserve it. You're doing amazing. So here's a little exercise for you. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on what you accomplished, no matter how small. Write it down in your journal or share it with a friend. Acknowledge your growth and give yourself a pat on the back and a nice big hug. You are worthy of your love, happiness, and you so are worthy of living life authentically. Embrace who you are and remember that self-love is a lifelong journey. You know, I'm still on it. However, every single day, I'm learning and growing and discovering fun, different things about myself. So you too can have that beautiful relationship with yourself and constantly get to know yourself better. Does that mean that every single day, you're going to learn something new about yourself? Maybe not. But over the course of a week, a month, a year, you will, as long as you take the time for you to get to know yourself better on a deeper, more loving level. So remember, let's not say stop. Let's replace those negative thoughts with positive ones and open up space with meditation and being mindful of how you're showing up. And if it feels right to you, maybe dabble in some yoga and see how that feels. Thank you so, so much for being here. I am so grateful for you. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend or somebody else that you feel might need this boost of motivation. And don't forget to check out my website, jodymisiak.com, for more resources and inspiration on your self-love journey. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. Together, we can uplift and empower each other. Until next time, keep loving yourself fiercely and loving yourself. And I just said that. And living authentically. Thank you again for being here. Have a very beautiful day. Bye for now.